Hi, this is Matthew. I'm actually just here in downtown Idaho Falls, Idaho. Had a few minutes to just kind of kill and chill and whatever on my day off, and I just thought I'd make a little video here. Just talk about some. Sorry about that. Talk about some things that are just generalized stuff, nothing specific. Just kind of whatever comes to mind. One of the things I was wanting to talk about is this whole thing about the Second Amendment, the guns, and who has the right to own a gun. How much restrictions can be on the right to own a gun. Should there be things like, psychiatric analysis of people that before they own a gun, and that kind of thing. And, after a lot of arguing and, foot stomping about this on my end, and seeing how, people on the liberal side kind of, approach the issue, it seems to me that it's really not even an issue of government. It's not really an issue of laws. It's a deeper basic issue, and I realize that guns, are used to do a lot of bad things, and there are a lot of bad people have them, and they're used for for really really evil things. But the basic issue is not Second Amendment rights. It's not guns. It's not anything. It's the basic issue is my right. I think the word I'm looking for is intrinsic, I believe. No, that's not the right word. My basic, fundamental right as a human being living on planet Earth to keep myself and people and property and whatever from harm by people who would steal them or hurt me or whatever. That's what the real issue is, and this is something that, for some reason, the liberal mind, in the minds of many liberal people, the people that we call liberals, the democratic people or whatever they're called, the people that believe in things like abortion and whatever it might be, evolution in schools and whatever else. In their minds, it's not up to the individual to protect themselves, but it's up to the government or the government officials or the police, the FBI, and whoever else, law enforcement, to protect people. Law enforcement does have the function of protecting people, but that's not their only function. And you have to understand that if you stacked the amount of people in law enforcement up against the amount of just regular citizens that we have in the country, there's no comparison. All the law enforcement and every department of law enforcement, police, sheriffs, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, NSA, all those people. If you took all of them together, there's not enough of them to protect but about maybe 15-20% of the people. So there's no logical way that the liberal person could defend the position that it's up to law enforcement to protect the average everyday citizen. And there are other ways to protect yourself besides guns. I understand this, and I'm not saying that guns are, the most perfect, awesome thing in the entire world. And I grant you that, I'm not going to say that every issue and every problem that liberal people and people in the middle ground have with guns is completely illegitimate. But at the end of the day, if I don't have the right and the ability to protect myself from harm, then I'm not really a human being. I'm a slave. I'm just a slave, because the slave leaves his well-being, his life, his safety, and everything up to the master. And I'm not a slave. I'm an American citizen. That still means something. It may not mean something for long, but right now it still means something. And America was won not by the military might or by police force. America's freedom and America's position in the world was won by people like me and you and just, everyday average people. These people that were farmers and ranchers and doctors and attorneys and priests and ministers, and those are the people that made America what it is today. It's not the responsibility of the federal government or the state government or the local government, the town government, the city government, whatever, to protect us as human beings. It's our responsibility. Each of us has a responsibility to run this country and to protect this country and to protect ourselves. The government is there to more or less police that and organize it, but it's not really up to the government to do that. It's not the government's function to be there every moment of every day when some burglar breaks in or when some rapist walks up to our wife or our daughter or our sister and demands sexual favors or whatever it might be. It's our responsibility. We have a responsibility to ourselves and to each other to protect ourselves, to protect the integrity of our women, to protect the the safety and the well-being of the United States of America. So you can put forth all the arguments about the Second Amendment and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't care if the Second Amendment existed or not. I would still carry a gun, and I would encourage anybody else that was able to carry one, and not just a gun with 5 or 6 rounds or a revolver, but any kind of gun. I don't see that there's any reason why any citizen can't have any kind of gun, as long as they're is reasonably sure that they can use it. Why not? Because a gun, means safety. A gun means life. I mean, people use them to hunt with. So guns and weapons in general should not be curtailed. We should not say, oh, this guy can't have it because it looks like an assault weapon, or this person can't have this kind of gun. It's got too many rounds in it, or whatever. It's a tool that we use to protect ourselves and our families and our loved ones and our homes, and that should not be curtailed. Should we have safety courses? Well, I'm not completely against that idea. I mean, as long as it's not run by people who are going to, grade you based on their preconceived notion about guns. As long as it's done fairly and whatever, I don't have a problem with that. But we should have the right to protect ourselves, and there should be no government association or government official or government entity that steps in and says, you can't do that. That should not be allowed. That's all I have to say about that. Thanks.